What's up, everybody? It's me, Joe Pisapia, and it's time to talk pitching. That's right. I've got 10 must-have pitchers. I gotta have them in 2025. Now, I'm not going to cheat here and pick any guys in the top 10 because everybody wants those guys. Those guys are definitive aces. They're great. We all want them. I'm talking about guys that I think can really be big-time contributors to your fantasy rotations this season. So let's turn our attention back to the list. Here are my top 10 must-have, gotta-have starting pitchers for 2025. Number 10 on our list, Bowden Francis, coming in around ADP of 200 with the Toronto Blue Jays. Francis showed some promise and a quality start streak towards the end of the season last year in 2024. The new splitter moved him into the rotation where he posted a 1.80 ERA, a .60 whip, and had 58 strikeouts and just 8 walks in 65 innings. He's going to be a back of the rotation starter for the Blue Jays this year, which is a team that should be better offensively with a bounce back from Bo Bichette and the addition of Anthony Santander. So more run support and a full season of starts could mean big things for Francis in 2025. Coming in at a criminal ADP of 166, number 9, Sean Manaea of the New York Mets. A change in arm angle turned this journeyman into one of the best pitchers in the National League last year. Over 32 starts, he posted 184 strikeouts, 63 walks, and a 3.47 ERA with a 1.08 whip. The xERA and the FIP numbers all suggest maybe a slight regression is coming, but at this value, it's crazy not to bid on a guy who can make 30 starts, give you a 3.75 ERA as long as he maintains that strikeout to walk ratio. Once he changed that arm angle and once he moved to the far side of the rubber, this guy was a dominant left-handed starting pitcher, and I want him on my fantasy rotation. Coming in at number 8, starting pitcher for the Marlins, Sandy Alcantara, ADP of 159. One of the most consistent pitchers in fantasy, Alcantara clearly was not right in 2023. He soldiered through 184 innings, but he missed all of last year due to Tommy John surgery. However, he is back, and remember, this guy was a dominant workhorse not that long ago. Back-to-back 30 start seasons with 200 innings apiece. Guys just don't do that anymore, but Sandy Alcantara can. Now, I know he's working his way back from injury, but he's already been named the opening day starter for the Marlins. That means the Marlins will be confident he's ready from opening day, and that means he should be part of your starting rotation as well. Plus, there's also the added aspect that he could be dealt at some point to a contender. Sandy Alcantara is a Cy Young type arm, and he's going at an extreme discount, and I will take that risk on the return. Coming in at number 7, Seth Lugo of the Kansas City Royals at an ADP of 148. Last year was the big breakout for Seth Lugo, and remember the handsome bald man with 2 thumbs who told you it was coming? That's right, it was me, Joey P. I'm the guy that told you because I was ready for Seth Lugo to break out in that big way, and he sure did. However, he exceeded even my lofty expectations, throwing 206 innings over 33 starts with a 3 ERA, a 1.08 whip, and a terrific 181 strikeouts to just 48 walks. He also faced a league-high 836 batters last year and was an absolute rock for the Royals rotation. He also won a lot of people a lot of fantasy leagues. Now, I do expect the ERA to regress somewhere to the mid-3 range, maybe a 3.7, 3.8 at the absolute worst, but still, I don't need a complete repeat of this ADP. I just need about 80% of 2024 Seth Lugo, and I think the Royals are going to surprise people again in 2025, so lock him up in your rotation because I got to have him. Next up at number 6, ADP of 133, Shane McClanahan of the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, I already have one Tommy John returner on this list, and I'm going to put a second one. Shane McClanahan has had even more time to recover from his TJ surgery. And when we last saw him, he looked like a Cy Young candidate. Unfortunately, that was all the way back in 2023. In 2025, McClanahan should have a clear path. Again, he's also been named the opening day starter. His career 3.02 ERA, 1.10 whip bode well for the 28-year-old being a fantasy ace yet again. I would expect somewhere around 170 innings. That's probably what you're going to look like. And maybe they skip him around the All-Star break, try to give him a little bit of rest as he recovers. But the good news is, everything so far has been solid in his recovery. All the news has been positive, and you're getting an extreme discount on guys like McClanahan and Sandy Alcantara. I can't say the same about Jacob deGrom, so I'll take my chances a little later with these guys in my rotation in the upside that they could be fantasy aces yet again in 2025. Let's take a quick break from the list to tell you about the cheat sheet creator at FantasyPros right now. seamlessly integrating and merging rankings from multiple experts to form a comprehensive cheat sheet for you. That's right, you to use in your drafts. You can organize your players into tiers and add personalized notes to streamline your decision-making process during the draft. Automatically update your cheat sheets with the latest expert consensus rankings right now, and you could do that over at fantasypros.com/cheat sheets, or just download Draft Wizard app today for MLB and start syncing your leagues for free. Now back to the list. Number 5, Justin Steele of the Chicago Cubs, coming in at ADP of 120. After starting the season late, Steele ended up making 24 starts, throwing 134 innings for the Cubbies last year with a 3.07 ERA and a 1.01 whip. He also had 135 strikeouts to just 37 walks. All his deeper stats are very strong, and Steele has been one of my favorite values for the last 2 seasons. Now, he's probably going to remain a value this draft season too, so take advantage of it while Shota Imanaga is getting all the hype. Justin Steele could match, or dare I say exceed, his stats in 2025. He's a fantastic fantasy investment. He's not without risk, but most of the injuries haven't been arm related, so that's a big positive when you're drafting Justin Steele in 2025 drafts. Number 4, Hunter Brown of the Houston Astros at ADP of 110. After an absolutely disastrous start in April to his season, he had an 11.84 ERA. Hunter Brown was getting dropped and traded everywhere, but the course corrected, and he turned out to be a very strong 2024 buy-in because he ended up with a 3.49 ERA when the dust cleared. Brown was dazzling down the stretch with a 2.28 ERA, a 1.14 whip in his last 12 starts, and it's exciting to think what a full, healthy season of Hunter Brown without the awful April could be. So I would be drafting Hunter Brown aggressively in 2025 as the Houston Astros look to be contenders yet again for that American League West. Number 3, Grayson Rodriguez of the Baltimore Orioles, ADP 108. The offseason was a little weird for the Orioles. They didn't acquire a whole lot. They lost Santander. They also lost their ace Corbin Burns, but I think the internal discussions certainly must feel like Grayson Rodriguez is ready to take that mantle as the ace of this Orioles rotation. Before a lat injury ended Grayson Rodriguez's 2024 campaign, he showed baseball what the hype was all about, and it was legit. Over 20 starts, he was 13-4 over 116 innings with 130 strikeouts, 36 walks, and a 1.24 whip. Normally, lat issues can be tricky, but the whole offseason to recover, everything should be fine, and so far, everything looks good in camp. He'll turn just 25 this year and remains a very high-level long-term asset, but in 2025, in the short term, this guy could be ready for a true breakout and has ace potential outside the top 100 overall pick. So give me Grayson Rodriguez on my fantasy rotation this season. Number 2, Minnesota Twins starter Pablo Lopez, ADP of 61. All last season, I kept screaming, buy Pablo Lopez everywhere because his ERA was far higher than the deeper metrics will tell you. Eventually, it landed at 4.08 after 32 starts with a 1.19 whip and 198 strikeouts, just 41 walks. His xERA last year was 3.70, and the FIP was 3.65, the xFIP 3.36. So Lopez really was a bad luck starter in 2024. I expect the offense to be better in 2025 and the Twins to once again be contenders for that Central. I'm buying aggressively on Pablo Lopez. People will look at that 4 ERA and not realize that it probably should have been closer to a 3.70 mark. And with that big strikeout potential, he is still a value in drafts right now. And finally, number 1, my must-have pitcher of all must-have pitchers for 2025, Blake Snell of the Los Angeles Dodgers at an ADP of 45. My goodness, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the rich, just keep on getting richer. And now Blake Snell ends up at the top of this rotation with all of that offense and all of that bullpen behind him. This guy could reach 20 wins. Now, I know Blake Snell is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But after a shaky start to the season that was delayed by contract negotiations, this guy settled in very well. I know that 6.31 ERA over the first 8 starts was pretty ugly, but eventually things did get figured out, and he had a 1.45 ERA over his last 12. This dude has won Cy Youngs. Blake Snell, we know how good he can be. We know what the strikeout potential is. And if you're going to give me an elite starting pitcher on an elite team with an elite bullpen and an elite offense outside the top 10 starting pitchers, guess what? That's going to be my fantasy ace. When I go ahead and take hitting in the first 3 rounds, give me Blake Snell in the 4th, and I will be a very, very happy fantasy manager. All right, there you have it, everybody. That's my list, but I want to hear from you. You tell me who your must-have pitchers are for 2025. Drop those comments below, and you might just win yourself that belt from Trophy Smack. And don't forget to subscribe to the Fantasy Pros MLB channel. Drop your comments below. Ring the bell till it goes ding. Like this video, share it, and join us for an incredible season of fantasy baseball. That'll do it for me, Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.